Hello, my name is Jason Williams. Welcome to an oral presentation discussing Heidi Rosen. Heidi Rosen has recently taken a greater role with venture business capital. In this role, she'll be utilizing a network that has taken her decades to build. In this presentation, we will examine whether Ms. Rosen can be viewed as a giver, taker, or matcher, as well as the concepts of her influence, power, and network. By doing this, we can get a better understanding of Ms. Rosen and her new role. But before we begin, let's meet Heidi Rosen.
Meet Heidi Rosen. Miss Rosen was born in the Silicon Valley, leaving her exposed to the rise of technology and entrepreneurship. She attended Stanford University, losing her fiance in her junior year. It was the loss of her fiance that made her determined to never rely on someone else's fate. Heidi graduated 2 semesters early in 1979.
Heidi Rosen understood the importance of networking from the very beginning of her career. She used a connection of a friend working at Tandem Computer in order to gain an audience with the hiring manager over a desired position she had with the company. This position was as editor of the company's newsletter.
Heidi had a reason to be the editor of the newsletter for Tandem Computer. Her reason was to gain an audience with Tandem's CEO. Without that reason, she may have never gained an audience with him, so she took her opportunity.
As we dive into Heidi Rosen's career, we can evaluate her as a giver, taker, and matcher. And we can see what effect this is going to have on her career. And it does have a great deal of influence on her professionally and personally.
So what is Heidi Rosen? Is she a giver, a taker, or a matcher? Or is she a mixture of all three? In the very beginning of her career, she definitely looks like a taker, but does this evolve with her career? Let's look at Adam Grant's give and take and see if we can get a better understanding of what a giver, a taker, and a matcher is.
Give and take is all about how much someone worries of giving in contrast to receiving. Do we freely give to others, or are there conditions behind what we give? Mr. Grant has found in his studies that givers are both at the top and bottom of the success ladder. Takers normally win in the short term, and matchers fall somewhere in between.
Being a matcher, giver, or taker gives unique approaches to interactions in 4 key domains. These domains are networking, calibrating, evaluating, and influencing.
In Give and Take by Adam Grant, he gives us a few examples of givers and takers. One such example of a giver was actually Mr. President Abraham Lincoln. In Mr. Lincoln's early days in Illinois, he actually threw an election, throwing his voters behind another opponent. It caused this opponent to win, but it also caused the reputation of Abraham Lincoln in the short term. We know in the long term that Abraham Lincoln went on to win the presidency, putting this giver at the top. In contrast, we see a taker in Kenneth Lay. In the beginning, Kenneth Lay looked like a rock star, and he was courted by many. He was popular through many presidents, such as George Bush and Bill Clinton, and it looked like he had everything going for him. But if you look at his workers at his company, they had different things to say about Mr. Lay. They would view him as someone who only was there during the limelight, even making comments that if you wanted Mr. Lay to be in a meeting, you need to have someone important there. And we can see that this taker ultimately ended at the bottom. So how does this fit in with Heidi Rosen's story? And is she a giver or a taker? In Heidi Rosen's early career, we can see that she was a taker. She made comments such that she was only going to be seen by CEO if she had a reason. So we know that she was trying to get audience with CEOs and executives for her own benefit. We can see very little benefit for those CEOs rather than just doing her job for the company. But through her career, she decided to move on with Teammaker to start a business with her brother. And while at Teammaker, she actually started using her connections for the benefit of the company, not just herself. So she seemed to evolve a little bit along the way, and maybe at this point she's starting to become more of a matcher, but she's still predominantly a taker, knowing that that company is owned by her and her brother. At this point in Heidi's career, we understand she knows networking and knows it well. She's collaborating with the people she needs to, and she's evaluating connections as far as needing connections for her projects. And she's influencing those people to come to her projects too. Rosen, while at Teammaker, joined the SPA, the Software Publishers Association. She would eventually continue on to become the group's president. While with this group, she learned how to join the fight of others. She learned how to connect for the benefit of both parties. She would eventually, though, leave Teammaker, and in doing so, she joined Apple. She ended up joining Apple at a financial struggle time for Apple. And this caused Rosin to use a lot of her network for Apple's benefit. Some of those situations described kind of seemed like they were one-sided. She even made the comment that she wouldn't get back with another party or respond to another party if they hadn't done anything for her. So her view there started to become very mature oriented. So after Apple, Rosalind leaves and starts her own business, and she calls herself a mentor capitalist. What she does is help start up businesses using her network. She connects the right parties together for the benefit of both parties. She's definitely giving now. She's doing it at a benefit of both parties. She's still protective and still tries to match, but at least she's giving to others. It is in this position that she gets connected with SoftBank. And they talk her into joining the board, and then they eventually talk her into expanding her role, which is where we are today. So Heidi Rosen can be successful with SoftBank venture capitalists and protect her network if she'll mimic David Hornick, who we've learned about in Give and Take, who's also a venture capitalist. But he is ultimately a giver, which is important to keep. He gives to anyone around him that he can. He'll do deals that are contrary to the rest of the market. If Heidi will follow this same model, she'll be successful in protecting SoftBank and moving them forward, as well as her network. This will be difficult for her because she's built her network somewhere in between being a giver and a taker. This concludes this presentation. Thank you.